Okay, here we are as usual with our weekly live. It has become now sort of a habit now, with this sort of like soft lockdown that we're in. We're all working from home. So it's nice to have these routines and being
Absolutely.
able to meet with my colleagues once a week and share. And it's
I
a nice moment to
know.
connect. How are you, Sheila? I haven't seen you in ages.
I know it's great to see you. I think the last time we saw each other was before Christmas or something in one of our lives
It
with
was. It was
Robin
right
and
before
Susan.
Christmas. Yes, we had the live with the Christmas tree.
Exactly. Talking about gifts and all the good things we eat,
Yes, talking a lot
right?
about food. That's what we were mostly talking about. There was a lot of
Exactly.
food talk going on,
There was, as usual.
as usual. Of course.
Oh, it's
So
nice
how
to be
are
here.
go
It's
nice
nice to be here.
nice to have you here. It's great. I love this space. For me, it's such a great opportunity to connect with the teachers that are following us, but also to connect with my colleagues. And it's so rare that we get to have this precious time to exchange and to just bounce ideas off each other.
You're absolutely right, and I'll join you anytime you need me.
Great. I will take you up on that. Absolutely.
Okay. No more lone live sessions, right? You can always
Exactly.
call me.
Exactly. And so what we scheduled that we were going to talk about today is CLIL, which
Mhm.
you are an absolute expert on, and you actually have a course in the Europass Teacher Academy where you teach this. Is that correct?
I do. It's a very popular course, and the teachers who come to take it, they just love it because we're in the classroom for about 3.5 hours a day, and then every day we have an excursion to a place that connects with what we talked about in the morning. So it's a wonderful course, and everyone that signs up for it, they just have a great time. It's called. Oh, what is it called? I haven't taught it in a while. So it's called CLIL in Practice, Focus on Florence.
Great.
Yeah.
And so, can you explain us a little better what is CLIL
Hmm.
and how it's related to language learning?
Absolutely. CLIL actually stands for Content and Language Integrated Learning. So, what does that mean? That means that students are learning about content, which could be academic. It usually is. It could be geography, history, science, math, but they're learning about that content in a foreign language. And oftentimes that foreign language is English. Uh, so
Okay.
in Europe, it's often academic content, but it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
It can be, any non-native speaker of Italian coming to Florence to take a course on cooking in Italian. So the content would be cooking, and the language that they would be learning would be Italian.
Okay.
So it's teaching content and language together.
So that the language becomes more like of a mean more than like the goal is
Yeah,
like you use the language.
right. The language is how you're learning the content, but you're also learning the
Exactly.
language because the
Of
language is
course.
new for you. Uh huh.
Of course.
Yeah.
This is actually something that, so I didn't know I was suggesting CLIL, but
Hmm.
actually to intermediate English students, when they reach an intermediate level, it's very common that I suggest to take a course on something that's interesting for you that's not English.
Yeah.
So take a course in photography, in wine
Hmm.
tasting, in
Yes, and
something
cooking.
in cooking, something
Yeah.
that is enjoyable for you, something that you're passionate about, and take a course on that and enjoy the fact that you are able to take that course in English, even if it's not perfect, even if you don't feel that confident yet, but just enjoying the fact that you're able to do it, and then you're able to enjoy that content and to, join this community that you would not have been able to join if
Absolutely.
that I think. So, that's nice.
Because if you're interested in the content, then it makes learning the language a lot easier.
Exactly. Absolutely. I firmly believe this. I think this is also why the absolutely best way to learn language is to fall in love with someone.
That's right. That's motivating.
So interested in the language.
I know.
So motivated.
Exactly. Love is a good content, right?
Absolutely. It's like the best. It's people who speak another language fluently, that they've learned it in adult life. Often they'll be like, oh, and where did you learn your French? Oh, I had a French girlfriend. And that speeds up the learning process.
It does. Because it's all about motivation. It is, if you're interested in the topic. If you're interested in the topic, of course you're going to be motivated to go forward,
Of course.
And
is it also, because I've always suggested it to intermediate students, at least. So do you think that CLIL is an approach that is advisable also for beginners?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's two kinds of CLIL. Like, for example, I have a lot of primary school teachers that come to us in Florence as well. And they're teaching CLIL, but they're just teaching maybe units in their classroom on the environment or whatever, transportation or whatever. And they're just teaching their students words. So I like to call it, there's a difference between soft CLIL and hard CLIL. Soft CLIL is maybe just learning a few words in a foreign language for even beginners or young learners. But hard CLIL would be more for advanced students, where everything is in the foreign language, whether it's English or whether it's something else.
Something else. That's interesting. I think I would. I think it would be challenging for me to plan this type of lesson for beginners. I think I would find it easier with intermediate students, and I think that especially. That's not true. I say especially because I've worked especially with adults, and I think this is an approach that works very well with adults, but I think it works very well also in for every age group.
Yeah, it just, and even and every level too. It really just depends how much of the second or foreign language you're introducing into your lesson or into your class. Because it could just be words too. It doesn't have to be sentences and the whole thing being in English. If you have a non-native, for example, if it's English, if you have a non-native speaking teacher of English who's teaching the course, they could just add in words if they're dealing with young language.
Of course,
so that's okay too. Gets them started.
Of course.
Yeah.
And Susan is saying hello, and she says, I wish more CLIL was happening in Italian secondary school as part as normal curriculum, not a special occasion.
Yeah, I think so too.
Are there some school systems where CLIL is part of the curriculum? Are there some?
Well, I think CLIL is popular in Europe. It is, but it's always using an academic subject. So in other words, students are always learning about an academic subject in a foreign language. So they're learning about history, math, science, whatever in a foreign language.
Biography, yes.
Yeah. You also have content-based instruction. And content-based instruction is what I knew about when I was living in the States. And content-based instruction is the same thing. But I think CLIL is very European, but it's always focused on academic material in most cases.
Okay.
But it's nice to think about CLIL using it for teaching something else. Like I always use the example of, I love France, and I'd love to go to Paris and study cinema, French cinema in Paris in the French language. That would be fabulous. So yeah, I think in Italy, it'd be great to have teachers be more creative and teach some things outside of, you know, academic subject material, like hobbies and things like that in a foreign language. That would be fun. Do you see what I'm saying, Christina?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Of like separating the academic curriculum and the content, and using CLIL into something maybe a little more exciting and a little more interesting.
Yeah.
And to really spark that, what we were saying before, spark the interest, and so motivation, and then really exploit the possibilities of CLIL. Because if you're using English to teach something that it's still not very interesting.
Exactly.
It's not,
right, exactly.
Kind of missing the point.
Yeah. And then it's difficult because sometimes, you know, academic subject teachers who may be like a history teacher in, for example, I don't know, Spain, for example, might be forced to teach CLIL, but they don't know English that well. Maybe they have to teach their history course in English. So I think that could be, you know, a really good reason for teachers to sign up for the English courses here is because they'll improve their English too if they have to teach their academic subject in English or another foreign language.
Yes, I remember also in Italy, I don't know if it's still happening, but I remember that a few years ago, something like this happened where they, with one of the public school system reforms, they decided that some of the content needed to be taught in English without checking if the teachers had the skills to do that and the experience to do that. So they like made a reform and said, okay, now every week, 2 hours of content need to be taught in English.
Yeah.
And the teachers were like, yeah, that's not happening.
I know, because that's very hard for an academic subject teacher who's not even an English language teacher to know how to even prepare the activities for non-native speakers, you know.
Of course.
Yeah.
Such a challenge, of course.
Absolutely.
And then just to be able to, we know how much we need, at least for me, I don't know about you, maybe you're a little more confident, but I know how much I need before feeling confident in bringing my content to the classroom. And I really need to feel like I'm owning it.
Oh, yeah.
So that I'm able to make that discussion constructive. It can't be just like, oh, I don't know, I studied the lesson and now I'm just repeating. If I feel that I'm not owning the content, it's really hard for me to plan a lesson and to really walk in the classroom and feel that I can contribute in some way to the discussion, to what is going on in the classroom. And so I can speak some Spanish, but I would not feel confident teaching in Spanish.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I would just not feel like I'm doing a good job or like I'm performing well. And so it's I can't imagine forcing teacher to transform all their content and their lessons and make them in English as if it was so easy to do it. Just like the same thing you do in Italian, do it in English. That's it.
Oh yeah, it's very difficult because it's very different having a very, you know, kind of friendly conversation with someone about very simple things than it is teaching about something that's very technical, like your academic subject. I mean, that's very difficult, very hard to prepare for a teacher. Very, very hard if they have to do it in a foreign language and they're not fluent.
And so I'm curious about the course that you teach in Florence about CLIL, because I've never attended that course. Unfortunately, there wasn't a chance. So I'm curious is, so you basically, you double in the course. So you are teaching the teachers things about Florence and you're teaching them in English. So, and so they also learn how to structure a CLIL.
Yeah. And they do the activities themselves. So they can basically replicate those activities in their own classrooms or modify them. So they're learning how to carry out a lesson using activities that are in a foreign language, but also connected to content.
Okay. And the content, when the course is done here, the content is all about Florence.
It is. It's fabulous. We do, the first day is about artists in Florence, and we do a lot of things with Michelangelo and Botticelli. And then at the end of the day, we go to the Casa Buonarroti, where is like a museum that was done in honor of Michelangelo and his life. And then we have one day that's dedicated to Dante, and we learn about Dante and do different activities, reading, listening, writing and speaking activities. And that day is called Love in Florence. And then at the end of that lesson, we get to go and see Casa di Dante, the house where, the area where Dante supposedly lived. So we have fashion in Florence, we have cooking in Florence. It's really great. So they learn a lot about Florence, but they learn it through English. But the point is, for teachers, they really learn how to create and prepare and organize and carry out and manage a classroom with, using the CLIL methodology.
Because you also have, like, related to the subject, I'm just trying to understand, like, for example, if you have a worksheet, okay, will it be focusing only on the content, or will it have some, like, linguistic elements, like some exercises about vocabulary, or will it be 100% on the content, and then all the language learning is, let's say, passive?
Yeah. I usually do a lot of pre-teaching of the vocabulary and things like that. Okay. But most of the time, the teachers who've taken the course, their level of English is already pretty high.
Okay.
If not, and there's another person in the class that's from the same country, I let them speak in their mother tongue as much as they want to. Okay. And it's never really come up that they wanted to spend time on grammar and things like that, because they haven't needed to. But that's another thing a teacher could think about is, how can I incorporate some mini lessons or whatever, even based on student errors, that they hear throughout the course. So yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, you can incorporate as much of that as you want to in a course.
Yes, probably also depending on the level of the students that are attending the class, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, of course, preparatory vocabulary is always very useful in every lesson planning, at least in English, even if you're not adopting a CLIL approach. But if we're just reading a text and we want to do some text comprehension, to check out some vocabulary before, I really feel that it makes a difference in confidence when then they approach the text or they approach the material, having looked at some of it before, really gives them that extra.
Absolutely. And you know what? We include a lot of parent group work, and for all the listening activities, they're done just like they would be done in a foreign language classroom, where students have 2 or 3 times to listen. It's not just one time listening. Yeah. And then for the readings, there's always comprehension questions, and they either do them with a partner or start individually, and then they share with a partner. So there's a lot of interactive activities too, which is great.
Nice. Sounds like a lot of fun. And I really hope that when we go back to meeting almost every day in the Europass hallways, one week will come where you'll have this course and I won't have any course. I'll be able to attend this course with you. I would love that.
I look forward to welcoming you, Christina.
It would
be great to have you in the course. I'm sure you'd love it. Yeah.
I'm sure too. Yes, because the courses that I attended with you were more towards classroom management.
That's right. Did you come to my classroom management class? I don't remember.
Yes.
Christina. Okay. Yeah.
Not the whole week, but I was hovering a lot.
Good for you. Well, you can come anytime. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you. Sheila, thank you so much for being with me today and sharing your experience with us. And I will call you again very soon to join me again in one of our Thursday lives. But for now, thank you for being here. And Jerdian, I think it's pronounced, is saying hi.
Oh,
She had a course with you in Florence.
great. Great. Nice to see you. Thank you, everyone. We hope to see you again very, very soon. Please come back and see us.
Yeah, and she's asking if you're doing well. I think you're doing well.
Oh, yeah. I'm hanging in there. I'm doing well. Yes, we're all doing well.
Good.
Eating a lot.
Eating a lot, way too much. Yeah. Okay, so Sheila, thank you again for joining us, and I will see you soon.
Have a great day, Christina.
You too. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Bye,
Take
Sheila.
care. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.